Hi guys, John here, Common Sense Outdoors. So 3 months ago I started a little series I wanted to do using the platform trigger for snare and trap setups. And I mentioned in that video, which was called Deadweight Snare with Platform Trigger, I mentioned a couple other ways of using that trigger system for your snare setups. So I thought today I wanted to show one of them, and it's a simple Cubby set, what's called a Cubby set. I'm just going to show you how to do that. I've already got the platform trigger all set up. Got a dead weight, this log right here. It's all set up, so now I'm just going to have to show you how to turn that into a Cubby set. And another good point to make while I'm at it is you don't have to be able to, when you're using a dead weight, you don't have to be able to hoist everything up in the air or whatnot for it to work. If you can find a good log that you can pick up on one end of it and get some good weight on it, which is what I've done here. I've just used the end of a log. It's got some pretty good weight. I had to hook a couple pieces of short paracord together to make it long enough for this. And you can see there I have the platform trigger already all made out. Pretty much went through this in detail in the other video I was talking about, so if there's anything that you're not understanding here, you probably didn't watch that video. So what we want to do to make it into a Cubby set is make that animal basically come into a little cubby or a pocket and put its head right where we want it to be. So I've started off by using a tree as my backstop. It could be done with a rock or a log or whatever you have that works out for you. The next thing I'm going to do, it's got a long stick here going off to the back, and I'm just going to take a Y branch, shove that in the ground a little bit. So the way this stick I've got going to the back there is up against a tree, and my Y is at an angle. It's kind of pushing it all together and holding it, locking it in right there. So now I've got a good base to start with. Then all I need to do is start breaking up some branches and start filling in and blocking it off. It's best if I shove these in the ground a little bit. There's a rock right there. The better I can get them shoved in the ground, the less likely an animal can come in here and try to tear its way into our Cubby set, which isn't real likely. A bigger animal might do it, but if there's an opening coming in here to the front, and again this is a baited set, you'd have something smelly underneath your platform trigger. So as long as this front's open like it is, chances are they're not going to try to tear into it from the side, because they can get to it easy from the front. So we're just going to start brushing in, continue brushing in, shoving the sticks in the ground. And part of this will get messed up when it sets off by the way I have my paracord running through my Cubby to get to the trigger. But basically, we're just trying to block off any sneaky animals from being able to get in there anyway except for through the front. the branches have a little extra branches hanging on them, all the better. It'll just help these branches all lock together on themselves, get tangled up. Next thing you know, it's going to start just looking like a big pile of brush. In fact, we can even take fir branches or something, fill it in a little more. I'm going to bring you around to the front here a little bit. I think you can see how we've created a little bit of a pocket or cubby. Don't mind that extra piece of cord hanging out there. That's just what I had left over from what I'm using. But one thing I did do is right here, I just put a simple overhand loop in my line. So what we're going to do with that, sorry guys, my tripod's not set right for this spot. Now, to confine them even more and get them to go exactly where we want, we could even close this off on the front a little bit more. And make sure they're putting their head right where we want it. My entrance actually could be a little closer in. We'd rather have it right up to the platform so they're not getting their whole body. We just slide everything back a little bit so they're not getting their whole body in there. We just want their head and maybe a leg in there for a better catch. Okay, so didn't work out too well. Yeah, hard spot in the ground right there. There's a rock right there. There we go. So now we've got it narrowed down to where they're going to go in there with their head just how we wanted to. We can guide them in even more if we want to put a rock or something there. So all we need, I'll narrow it down just a little bit more. There we go. Now all we need is a snare loop. Again guys, this could be done with paracord or any kind of cord you can make your snare loop with. The advantages of using a wire snare loop is simply two things. One, the animal you catch might have teeth. If it does have teeth, you risk having it chew itself free. Okay. Two, it's a lot easier, especially on a hanging snare like this. If it's on the ground, it doesn't make near the difference. But when you're hanging a snare, it's a lot easier to hang a wire snare loop than it is paracord. Let me just clip this off. So all I'm going to do is run my wire back through my loop. Work out the twist where I can get a good loop. I'm going to bring it up here to my overhand loop that I put in my line and just wire right to it. Couple advantages of this right here is my snare loop doesn't have to be size specific. What I mean by that is if you're snaring a squirrel or a rabbit as your target animal, you have to have your snare loop at the right size in order for the rabbit or squirrel to get its head caught in that snare loop and not just be able to walk right through it or not be able to fit its head through there. Because I'm using the dead weight as a motor, my snare loop doesn't have to be size specific. It can be way oversized, because as soon as an animal sticks its head in here and is trying to get to that bait under that platform trigger, sets off the trigger, my dead weight falls and it'll cinch up my snare loop on whatever size animal is there. Another advantage of this set is this is one of the best chances of getting a head catch or a neck catch for a quick dispatch. Yes, you might get a leg in there reaching in to get what's under your trigger. But hopefully a nice possum or something comes in here and just sticks his head through here and starts nosing around in underneath your trigger and sets it off. And I'm going to turn you guys just a hair so you probably should be able to catch the dead weight falling while I do this, because I'm only going to set it off once today. My battery's flashing. Okay, so if we've done everything right, we've got our snare loop set. It may mess up a couple branches, like I say, on our Cubby set when it sets off, but that's no big deal as long as we get our animal. Yeah, my trigger stick is a little bigger than it probably should be, but puts its head through, starts messing around, trying to get what's underneath our trigger. There's our animal hanging way up there. Alright guys, as you can see, it messed up my Cubby pretty good. Whoa, where are you going? Messed it up pretty good. So, hey, as long as it catches your animal, if you have to redo it or redo another set or whatever, as long as it worked, got your animal to put his head right where you wanted him to. Alright guys, I hope you liked it. Got one more way of using this platform trigger that I'm going to show in the next video. So if you like this one and the previous one showing it, check out the next one. As always, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.